Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Upper right corner we got Zen starting as the blue Protoss. Bottom left hand corner we got Ardent Turtle starting as the green Zerg. This is going to be on Eclipse, which wow, my mouse really wants to drag that direction instead of actually clicking the map reveal thing. This is Eclipse, obviously one of those maps that, well, actually maybe not so obviously. I did hear someone, they were like, I've never been, I had one commenter out there, I wish I could remember the name off the top of my head. I'm sure I will go back after this video and look up who it was, but they're like, I've never watched StarCraft before, I got recommended this and really enjoyed it, so go figure. So maybe you're one of the new viewers out there. If that's you, let it be known that Eclipse was a map that was out in the map pool forever. And so these guys that have been playing for a long period of time have a lot of practice on it. It was one of those maps that pretty much everyone, I don't know why it was the map that a lot of people opted to play on. I feel like this, Polypoid, Neo-Sylphid for a very long period of time ended up being the go-to maps. The maps have since cycled out, but this one, for whatever reason, has remained. Anyway, Overlord being built for Ardent Turtle here to start rather than a pool first, so he's going to opt for some Overlord start build. We'll have to see, and we are going to see a Gateway first here from Zen. That worked out moderately well for Zen, and I gotta presume it's an overpool. I almost feel like Eclipse and a handful of other maps, but in particular Eclipse might have forced the overpool style of play actually out of Zerg, because I feel like this is the map that really opened up Gateway first play, because for a long time it was just Forge first, Forge first, Forge first, and then someone just, I don't know what the swap was, but Gateway first has become much more the what's in vogue. And the responsive overpool has become much more in vogue as well. Though we have, idle drone there for AOT for a second there. Spawning pool to start, Zen is able to scout it. Should play a little bit more passively. He also has the option to drop a pylon here in the natural expansion if he saves a few resources. He's waiting to go ahead and engage. Oh, didn't get the shot on this drone. The drone actually making its way back, waiting. That's kind of an odd wait. Is he just going to wait for the Zerglings to clear? Never mind. He's going to go ahead and plop that hatchery at the 9 o'clock location. So it looks like it's going to be 3 hatch before gas, and he's just waiting on a few Zerglings to provide some clearance. Zen still holding still wants to go ahead and perhaps create a blockade there. First Zealot is out. Let's see if that heads to the 9 o'clock location. I wouldn't be shocked. We have 2 additional Zerglings. It looks like it's just a pair of Zerglings. And Ardent Turtle still hasn't gotten a scout. He's playing a little bit aggressive in not building the additional pair of Zerglings, so he's able to push that off. He still doesn't have the resources to grab the third as of yet. He is now grabbing his gas, so basically kind of, and usually you want that third hatch. It looks like the Zealot is going to be able to find that 3 o'clock location, but the hatchery decently delayed, waiting for all of that to kind of line up. But in the meantime, Zealot's getting a handful of hits. It's not going to be able to take away the hatchery, but at least that information is out there. Second Zealot out on the field, and if that second Zealot can get to the 9 o'clock location, I do believe there's a nice pocket. When 2 Zealots are up there behind the mineral lines, they have a little bit of a better time faring against the Zerglings. So hatchery, this will also blockade some mining briefly. The probe making its way back out to go ahead and check what's going on as far as the Zergling count is going to die for his efforts. That actually hurts, because let's see, is there going to be a second probe immediately sent out? No second probe as of yet. Forge on the way, by the way. No gas on the main for Zen as of yet. The Zealot's actually getting a good amount of damage on that hatchery, but a little bit late making their way towards the rear, and that's a lot of Zerglings from Ardent Turtle here to start. And the Zealot's not quite okay. It looks like they are going to be able to line up, but not lining up quite in the pocket where they can do the 2, and so it looks like it's going to be a 4 shot. So pretty well cleaned up. Zergling speed being upgraded from Ardent Turtle as well. We do have 2 Zealots on the front and a cannon just now morphing in. That should be near complete as the Zerglings are on the front. There's not a lot, there's no gaps to shoot right here. And so I don't know that they're going to get a lot accomplished at this stage. Ardent Turtle still pumping Zerglings. Is he just going to go for, it looks like he's just going to go for a Link Flood pretty rapidly here. He's teching to layer, which surprises me because he's still building a lot of Zerglings. Still sitting on 10, trying to push through that top corner. The cannon done, and probes are alongside as well. And loses 2 Zerglings and takes some damage on his Overlord, which will soften it up for a theoretical Stargate. Ooh, almost ends up losing it. Another Overlord taking damage. This is 2 nearby damaged Overlords, by the way, for Ardent Turtle. And he's going to be somewhat slow on... He's going to go Hydrolistan. He's still sitting on just 13 workers. 13 workers just starting to saturate the natural expansion and that 9 o'clock. This is very, very slow start here for Arda Turtle. He does have this glut of Zerglings out in the field, which means it's going to be a minute before the Zealots are going to be in sufficient numbers to go ahead and cross, and it does give Zen something to think about. But it looks like he's not opting to drop a second cannon and can just go about the tech path, Stargate, etc., and be okay, honestly, in the midst of this. Huge economic lead for Zen here to start. We do have a Spire dropping in the midst of this. I am wondering if Arda Turtle... Are you going to drop that Spire? Okay, there we go. I'm wondering if Arda Turtle is going to adjust plans because of the slow economic start and maybe opt for 3-hatch Mutalisk, which, let's see if Zen's prepared for it. He's got the Overlord in the main, seeing the Stargate and Citadel of Adun behind all this. Second cannon drop, but what a lot of Protoss do not do decent diligence of these days is making sure there's a cannon along that natural expansion and a cannon along the main, or because oftentimes the old 3-hatch Mutalisk, that you crush the main in those circumstances if you just had especially if it's only a single Corsair. And these days, if it's single Corsair over those 2 cannons, you can see where they're somewhat pushed away from where the cannon line there can get damage. There's damage done in the background. Shout out to Moltrep, by the way. Starcraft. +1 weapons for Zen, starting to make his way out. These several Overlords actually in somewhat dangerous position. The damaged one is there to the south. It looks like it is going to be a pushback to 5-hatchery rather than 3-hatch Muta, which is fortunate for Zen. Arda Turtle slowly clawing his way back towards a decent macro in the midst of this, but he's still pretty far behind, I would say. 9 drones there. Gonna walk up, see 8 drones right there, and now that we can go Overlord hunting. Honestly, well, maybe probably not. Actually, we don't have no Scourge as of yet. Looks like the Scourge are being queued up, and an Evolution Chamber dropped to the 9 o'clock. So Arda Turtle shelling up for transition to 5-hatch. Potentially, and Zen just going to go ahead and back off for the moment. Upgrading Zealot leg speed, going ahead and tacking on a few gateways, is going for the Templar Archives. No Overlord towards the front, so I will be... Usually Protoss are doing that these days to get a little bit of a faster High Templar to build some additional energy for the mid-game, but without an Overlord over the natural expansion, I would like to see a Dark Templar. There we go. Nice Zen, building the defensive photon cannon, recognizing there is a Spire, and he's got that photon cannon there. So good play. And we did see some Mutalisks constructed. So Scourge trying to hunt the Corsair, not finding anything. There's the 4 count and plus weapons about 2/3 finish. With the 4 count, of course, once you have 5 Corsair, the Mutalisks are really not going to accomplish anything unless they're in absolutely overwhelming numbers and able to kind of split and spread. We do have a Dark Templar queued up. Love to see it on the front. Zealots marching their way out with that +1 weapon and speed. The Mutalisks with the Zerglings should be able to ward that back. Looks like the Mutalisk's just looking for engagement points. So it looks like Arda Turtle opting to use the Mutalisks more as anti-Zealot defense. The Corsair is actually going to pull back as well with those Scourge providing, and is that 2 dead Zealots? I'm gonna guess this is gonna be, well, at least a dead Zealot and some base damage otherwise. Back at home, 1 Zealot got pinned back. Is he gonna get picked off? Does get picked off by the Zerglings. And Arda Turtle able to re-stabilize around 33 drones, which is decently healthy, and does have that natural expansion gas, is working, plus weapons on the Corsair finished, by the way. A lot of drones, or a lot of workers, I should say, for Zen. He actually morphed an Archon, interesting. Was maybe because he's concerned about that Mutalisk threat. I don't feel like that was necessitated, given that he does have a lot of Corsair and +1 weapons, but potentially a little bit concerned by that. The Archon alongside will definitely help the Zealots get out onto the map, and that will mean Arda Turtle needs more than just Zerglings and Mutalisk. A couple Scourge getting picked off, by the way. So I don't know, the Archon maybe paying off here. That's opening up the Corsair to potentially get out in the map, and the Zealots clearing out all the additional Zerglings. So Arda Turtle, if he's playing carefully, should queue up a lot of Hydralisks at the 9 o'clock in other locations. He actually doesn't have range quite complete with the Hydralisk, so I'm not sure they're going to be able to provide a lot of support, and he got supply blocked. Rough. in the midst of this. The Corsair able to find an Overlord midfield, so this could actually be a threatening attack, even though it's small in number, if Zen persists and the Mutalisks drawing back. There are a handful of Hydralisks here to provide some support. Yeah, the Mutalisks just taking a lot of damage. But now, and it looks like Archon and Zealots folding in. Zen, unfortunately, attacking at the... Ooh, and the Mutalisks just got obliterated right there. That poor drone. He was just coming up here to deliver some minerals, and then he was like, hey, what's going on, guys? And that just died. 3 Overlords stranded. It looks like Zen is not going to pounce on them. That's unfortunate, because I think he might have been able to get 1 or 2 before the Hydralisks were able to provide some support. We have a lot of Hydralisks now to provide defense between the natural expansion and the 9 o'clock base. And more coming alongside, but Zen has got enough map control at this stage where he could probably wander out and grab a third. Corsair is still sharking around looking for some Overlords, able to... Actually went up to 8. 9? He's got 9 Corsairs, so it looks like he wants to try to... Ooh, I'm a little bit concerned now, actually. Does he have enough Zealots? He does have a lot of Zealots on the front still. And he's got that Archon, but no Psystorm, surprisingly, here. We have now High Templar queued up, but it's going to be a long time. He doesn't have the energy upgrade, so it's going to be a minute before he's got any sort of Psystorm. So both players kind of in passive defensive slots. Although Ardor Turtle moving the Hydralisks forward and out of a defensive position to help deal with these Corsairs. And that means you could count it, about 2 seconds, those Overlords are getting wiped out. Looks like 1 Corsair was picked off, but this is still a deadly, deadly air fleet. More Hydralisks grouping up. The Scourge quickly battered another Overlord, going to get picked off. Ardor Turtle once again in the red. And this is when it can start getting really, really deadly. Ardor Turtle, with that, opting to try to charge that natural expansion. He might be able to clear that forge and that gateway. Do we have +1 weapons? We have +1 weapons and +1 armor. Archon can't get out there, actually, so taking the gateway out might be a favor. High Templar dropping a Sidestorm to ward this back. The Corsair not active in the midst of this. But I do believe Zen, well, he's got a lot of supply. He should have enough to repel even these 2 control groups of Hydralisks. And Ardor Turtle still hasn't, yeah, it's the Overlord control, still hasn't been able to mitigate this damage. And wow, Zen getting a lot of value out of these, out of this. The Hydralisks getting obliterated by that Psystorm. Forge probably should cancel that, though. That's a little bit bold to try to upgrade. Okay, there's the cancellation. Zen caught it, but Zen had a lot of supply and might even be able to swarm and wipe out Ardor Turtle here. What I would love to see is the swarming attack plus a probe making its way out. There we go, Zen. Yes! To go ahead and grab that 1 o'clock in the midst of this, as he's got a glut of resources to work with. The Corsair sweeping back. No Overlords there. Corsair are able to at least check out where the Hydral's positioning, one of them getting picked off, now grouping up. The Scourge melting. The Overlord's probably going to get picked off here as well. The Zealots right there. The attack force unfortunately coming in scattered against the Hydralisk's line, but it doesn't matter because the Zealots deep diving into the natural expansion, and the reinforcing Hydralisks are getting caught up engaging the rest of Zen's army from the rear, and the Overlords are just getting obliterated while all of this is happening. Zen doing a great job with the Corsairs. Great game from Zen right there, as one would expect the tournament organizer. Don't count Ardor Turtle out, though. See how he does at the lower bracket. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.